June 20th, 2016. The gym and exercise and cinematics. On the elliptical, moving at an 8. Going to the gym, walking up to the ellipticals, getting on the machine, warming up, cutbacks. The main sequence is using the elliptical, stopping, then getting on the bike, then leaving the gym. The cuts in between are as follows. He's got cerebral palsy, screaming baby, moving arm. He needs physical therapy. You can't do gymnastics, rolling on head, unable to move properly. You can't do the Cub Scouts, walking up the hill behind the class, driving by the soccer field on the way to get leg cast. It's to stop your toe walking. It's not cerebral palsy, it's muscular dystrophy. Kid legs running in grass. Dr. Jacket shot. He'll never run. Get off elliptical. Show 5K and time. Get on bike. End shot of stopping bike at point of completion. Closed scene. June 21st, 2016. Vlog, once a week. Twitch stream 5 days a day. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. First vlog. My name is Jay. Forgive me if I do this incorrectly, but I'm going to try this out and see what happens. A bit about me. I'm in my late 20s. I'm mentally ill, bipolar 1 with paranoid delusions. I've been committed to a psych ward once about 6 months ago, just before Christmas. I'm also physically disabled, muscular dystrophy. It's a muscle wasting condition. It'll probably kill me eventually, but before that, I want to try something. I'm a recluse, you see. I have trouble leaving my house for more than an hour or so a day. I'm often going days at a time without going out in public. And when I do, I'm dealing with some pretty bad paranoid delusions, which I speak about later on as we get to know each other. As a result, I'm unemployed, working on getting disability and dead broke, like 68 cents to my name, broke. I figured now it's time to work towards something I've dreamed of doing since I first started drawing, instead of just waiting things to get worse. I'm tired of the darkness. I want to make an animated series, nothing fancy. I want to learn to animate and cover every part of the production process so others can see what goes into making something from nothing but an idea and the commitment to get it finished. The twist is, I want to do it on this iPad. I was given this today to replace my broken computer. Thank you. It means a lot. I want to see what it can do. I was given the first generation iPad years ago when it came out, which I still have, and the first series of synesthesia artwork I created on it got approximately 3 million downloads in an 8-month period. So I think the interest is there if I work hard enough. Since then, I've moved from photorealistic airbrushing to heavy ink portraits of people I enjoy the work of, celebrities and others that I know just how to work hard. A few of them have been nice enough to encourage the work. So what I think I'll do is make a weekly video blog and stream the entire working process on Twitch and upload those to YouTube. I figure what I'm doing that I can set up a merchandise store, creating shirts and prints, and try to make a living that way. I want it to be a learning experience. I need it to be difficult to keep me interested, so I've got to spend the last couple of weeks figuring out the process of creation into episodic formats and fleshing out the series episodes themes. This is my first blog post. While this is uploading, I'm going to be setting up my Twitch feed and figuring out how to make the most of what I've got. I figure if I can't currently get out of my house physically, I can do this and see if it makes it easier. Any work towards something is better than nothing at all. If you want to join me on this, it would be lovely. June 21st, 2016. So the animation software is limited. The animation app will import the stills and make in Procreate at full size, which is extremely useful, so the workflow is as follows. 1. Record the audio track. 2. Determine the length of the animation frame number, 24 times number of seconds. 3. Add them in. 4. Key the audio to the proper frame. 5. Create the stills in Procreate. 6. Export them to the photo album. 7. Import them into the proper frame of the animation. 8. Export the animation to YouTube if possible under Cat's Tail account. June 22nd, 2016. Emotions. Angry. Sad. Happy. Surprised. Really angry. Really surprised. Think of the skull being a rigid line. The flesh can squash and stretch, but needs to move along the shapes of the bones. June 22nd, 2016. Being mentally ill. Deny the crazy. I'm not talking about ignoring being ill or removing yourself from the condition by denying it even exists. The complete opposite, in fact. You need to understand on a fundamental level that you're likely not well, and though you may be again, there are very real instances where your perception doesn't line up with reality. It's not a matter of it being completely unreal, because everyone has a perception bias towards their favor most often, rose-tinted glasses for instance, but knowing that you're ill is actually a boon once you do the work to get over the fact that you are. You know that you're an unreliable narrator and that there are times when your inner and outer monologues can't be trusted to be in your best interest or even pertinent to the situation at hand. Psychosis is an extreme version of this. It's a hard concept to accept fully. You have to be able to come to terms with the idea that you don't always know what's best of you, which can often feel like a form of relenting control or even losing a sense of yourself as a person. It's not a bad thing, but it is difficult to entertain the idea of, and even harder to really accept that you're a fallible personality. Not that you think that you're not fallible, everyone is, right? But once you do, it speeds up the time to recovery to being a normal person again, if it's possible, which it may not be. Losing your grip on reality, watching it become a liquid thing, changes you permanently. Sometimes it's hard to get back from it. It feels like it's happening for the worse on the short term and has real work long-term effects. It's been 27 weeks, about 6 months and change since I was committed to the psych ward of my local hospital for psychosis and suicidal tendencies. I'm very much still in recovery, but here's what I've learned in the last 6 months and what I think you can do to deal with them to reduce your recovery time. First, everything happens in stages. You're going to be out of it for the first few months after being released. You're dealing with a lot. You've been told you're not healthy, you're normal mentally, and probably have been given a diagnosis of heavy definition. Mine is bipolar 1, and I suffer from paranoid delusions on a daily basis. You've just been flipped on your head, and every interaction is raw. If you were committed, it probably means that you had to call the cavalry in, and you're feeling hurt and betrayed by that person with the conflicting emotion of they did the right thing, that's normal. You've just been classified as someone else's property for a period of time. You're likely heavily medicated, and you're dealing with the emotions of being told you're not well enough to look after yourself. You've been through days of psych evaluations, and you've been documented from your sleeping and eating patterns to your social interactions. All is seen if you're well enough to be allowed outside in locked doors and walled pavilions at the ward to pick up from where you got broken. But it's a good thing you're there. Someone cared enough about to get you help when you couldn't handle your business. They care enough to restrain you. For me, I was handcuffed in my living room by a first response police officer, an amazing service. There were 5 people that came out and put me in the back of a cruiser and sped off to the ward. Before the handcuffs went on, people that are only there to help you are giving you every chance to talk your way out of the situation. They don't want to bring you in, but they will do their duty, and if you're not well and you know you're not well, you're going to go with them. I got put in the flight risk wing my first night because I started having a panic attack when I realized what was going to happen and tried to make for the door to get some fresh air. Arms were put behind my back, cuffs were attached, off we went. Before that, though, they talk to you. They see how you're doing. Be honest, it's to your detriment to lie to these people. They're there because you're not really there. They try to find common ground because they've got about 5 minutes to see how much of a threat you are to yourself or those around them. For me, one of them mentioned how he served, mistaking my camera gear case for the weapon it was originally built to hold. I appreciated the attempt. They're in a group in case they have to physically restrain you. A pair of police officers in the house with 2 social workers and a 3rd officer waiting in the wagon outside to get you to the ward quickly if need be. They're good at their job. You're institutionalized. The first night is rough. I didn't sleep at all and spent the night talking to myself to get some perspective on the situation. It looks nuts, but it helps to try to see outside your own view for a while if possible. They take you to a room with a shuttered wall, a heavy bed you can be tied down to, television that's behind safety glass controlled from the bed, a couple chairs, and a camera with excellent lighting to see how you're doing. My room was across from the guard station. They spent the night talking about and watching wrecked videos of various gratuities. It was funny at the time, but now that I think back on it, it wasn't the best thing to hear about when you had been planning to kill yourself a few hours before. The television's nice, though. They sprung for cable, which we don't have in the house. They put a band on your wrist and take your blood. Your wrists are still raw from the handcuffs. They hurt. You spend the next few days being felt like property and being evaluated. The food is amazing. I always hear people complaining about hospital food, which I just don't get. They release you. So you've been raw. It's been an upheaval. You spend the next months going to group and finding a therapist covered by your healthcare plan. I'm lucky enough to have subsidized healthcare paid by the government. When you can't afford to eat, they're nice enough to get you in the program. Without it, couldn't afford the thousands of dollars a month in pills, antipsychotics, and the like that I have to take, or the top-notch therapist I got to go to. I stopped going to group. I seem to have comorbid conditions, PTSD, social anxiety, and bipolarism, and this constant paranoia. Combine that with ADH1 primary inattentive and muscular dystrophy, and you get one heck of a hat trick. Couldn't handle a room of 30 people talking about how badly their lives are going. It was a bummer. Just walked out mid-session one day, haven't been gone back. Probably not the best considering I don't leave my house much anymore, but you get used to anything after a while and you get into a routine. It's easier to hide away when every human interaction feels like it could be delusional or part of a larger scale conspiracy against, or in my case, for you. You'll end up having to learn to ask other people to reality check your perspective, asking, did that person say that? Or did they just do that sign from across the room? Talking about the crazy denies the crazy from taking root. It's a constant thing and has become a part of our daily lives. It's just going to the store has become too much. Like I said, I really leave the house at the moment. Paranoia is a powerful thing. It makes you hyper aware of a situation because you don't have the ability at the time to cut stimulations out of your periphery. You end up taking whole rooms of movement in with a glance. What people are wearing, what they're doing, where they're moving to, and their relationships to others in the room. You start to categorize people by colors they're wearing because the surveillance team tends to color coordinate. You start seeing patterns in human movement as well. It becomes a habit, then permanent. I still haven't figured out how to get around it. At times it's completely overbearing. It's like being turned on all day. Full power, it's draining. Add in delusions and the team is talking to you in body language, and it becomes a trip of just exactly are you not able to stop reading into? So you have to give up on that part of yourself and trust someone else to fact check your surroundings. It's a learning process. For me, my mood cycles from hypomanic to potentially manic every 2 weeks like clockwork. It took 6 months for us to figure that out. You change meds, you change your diet, oil, sugar, caffeine, alcohol, drugs are no longer allowed. They all have the potential to drastically affect your mood, and it's easier to cut them out than fight the effects. You eat healthier, you exercise more because you're used to some type of high, and endorphins are free. You lose weight, things feel a little better, and you can exercise more often. Your number of fixes increase. This is what I found is needed to manage my condition a bit better. I still drink once every 4 months, or a mouthful from what Nedio's drinking. I drink coffee every day because it makes me feel like I get to be in control of what I put into my body a little bit more. No more than 2 or 3 cups in the morning and none beyond the afternoon. No sugar. You get used to it. You go to therapy. You don't have to trust your therapist, but you do have to be honest. The time there is to do work. It's not to complain, but find issues to work on and ways to achieve goals in a steady and increasingly manner. As you get to know each other, you'll find a rhythm to get to your issues. I prefer to just be blunt. It gets things quickly sorted. Nedio's, my fiance and I went together for the first few sessions during the first few weeks of recovery. Had to. You're still not yourself at that point. They teach you about reality checking, what to do and not do, i.e. diet and exercise, and you get better. It's slow. The pills you're on each take about a month to stabilize you to see if they're working. You have ups and downs. You may even have a manic episode while visiting like I did. Eventually you start to document your life to make better sense of your disorders. I track when and how long I exercise for, and I'm thinking of marking nights I stop sleeping to see when I'm getting into a manic phase, like the one I'm currently in. I only slept for a couple of hours last night, but I left my house today. I went on a couple miles away and sat on a hill and wrote the script. It's like the 5th time I've been able to leave the house by myself that wasn't going to the store or therapy in 6 months. So things are improving. I'll make more videos like this as I figure out what to talk about. But thanks for watching. Have a lovely day. Thanks. Please visit anchor.fm/divergentmind to leave a message so that I may get back to you. Thank you. Have a nice day. So Anchor is asking me to ask you to support me financially. I would ask that you go to my Patreon to do that, which is patreon.com/divergentmind. It means you can either become a monthly subscriber at a different tier of $1 to $3 to $5. I'm not looking for a lot. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not asking for anything. This is going to go at the end of my podcast. I don't like it when podcasts straight up ask you for money when I'm doing okay. Well, I'm not doing okay. I'm surviving now to the point that I can make this. I would love to be able to make improvements to this by, say, so basically I'm running off an iPad, and I would like to improve it by getting different things that would make it better. Maybe some headphones that monitor output, or a better mic, though the mic I got was from JWife, so I might not even use the better mic. You know what I mean? It's all about whatever I need at the time, but really it's just to get healthy again, because I'm currently over 300 pounds and I don't want to die that young. I would really like to be able to afford some vegetables so I can go back to my vegetarian diet, because being this big sucks. And I'm happy to sit in a chair all day, but I really got to walk my butt off, literally. So that's what the money would be for. It would be for healthy food, because I can't afford it. I can afford ramen and pasta and rice and beans, but I can't live on carbs because that's how you get this big on antipsychotics. Junk food and carbs, which is just cheap and plentiful around me. So I would like to leave my house and just lose some weight. And to do that, I would like to go to the store and buy some vegetables, please. But you don't have to do anything. I'm not asking you to. I'm not begging. I'll figure it out on my own. Much pleasure, Jay.
Hey people, take a listen to the Divergent Mind podcast. You get both insight into living with a serious mental illness and get to listen to a lovely tale about a journey cute little animals need to take. Don't miss out, and remember, divergent minds don't need to think alike.
Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that I have a YouTube channel called Taught Myself, and that I've decided to start selling merch already with a phrase that my brother showed me saying, "My disability is invisible," of which I made a hat for myself. So I decided to make hats, shirts, hoodies, for both men and women on Spreadshirt.com. All you have to do is search for "My disability is invisible." It's in green, and that's mine. You'll know it's me because when you click the sale icon, the same little Divergent Mind icon comes up. And I hope you'll support me. I make about $5 per shirt or per sale. Everything else goes to Spreadshirt. But that's okay because it's still a better deal than a lot of other places. And I really hope you'll support me. Come check me out on the YouTube. Teach me how to do that properly so I can have a community there too. And I await your response. Have a lovely day. Jay.